Dobra Utra, hi, it's Diane, and I've come to talk to you today about why Jesus and the Gospels are a whole lot like Cinderella, the story. And there was a lady who suggested that, and a wonderful Christian sister was very offended by that because Jesus was crucified, and and it's not a fable, and it's not a fairy tale. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you today why Jesus and the Gospels are like Cinderella. Okay, I would like to suggest that every single one of us are Cinderella. Cinderella in the original story, by the way, it opens, she's with her mother, the mother's dying, and she's a small girl, and her mother tells her that she will love her always, and that love will carry on past death, and for her to pray fervently every day. And, Disney leaves that part out, that Cinderella was to be humble, kind, and to pray daily. Cinderella's mom dies, and in the spring, which seems to be right after that, her dad remarries this horrible woman, right? We know that story with the wicked stepsisters. Cinderella is regaled to the ashes, to the cinders, because I guess her real name was not Cinderella. Her real name was probably something like, I don't know, Cynthia or Ellen, Helen even, and they made up this nickname of Cinderella to make fun of her. So I would like to suggest that every single one of us on the planet of Earth are Cinderella. We all want to be asked to the ball. We all want to be special. We all want to be loved. And we all want to go to the ball and dance with the prince. Now, why do we want to go to the ball and dance with the prince? Because it's appealing, and there's something inside of us that has that desire that we want to be included. I'd like to say that the Holy Spirit is the wonderful, wonderful godmother. In the original story of Cinderella, Cinderella plants a twig by her mother's grave where she prays every day and tells God about what's going on. And a white dove appears in that tree that grows up beside her. And as she prays and says, I'm hungry, and Lord, if I could just have something to eat, food drops out of the tree. Because who provides for us and who moves us? It's the Holy Spirit. And is the Holy Spirit not what prepares us, our heart, and calls us to Jesus? I think that the godmother is a whole lot like the Holy Spirit that is inside each and every one of us. God says that we're each born with a measure of faith. You often wonder how small children can overcome great adversity and survive horrific, unbelievable conditions and environments, because they keep saying they had this faith that they would just hold on, things would get better. God says that he created us in his image. So I would say that because we are created in God's image, that we seek justice and kindness and humility and grace and mercy are innate inside of us. And the Holy Spirit prepares us. Now, in the story, Cinderella takes her rags, her ragged dress, in the original story, and she lays it beneath the tree, and she asks that she could be blessed to have a dress to go to the ball because she didn't feel adequate in what she had. So she took her filthy rags and she laid them at the feet of a tree, and she waited expectantly upon God for the answer. And a dress came down out of the tree. God heard her prayer. He wanted her to come to the ball because he wants to dance with her. He has made shoes that are only for her. He has made shoes that are only for you. Cinderella has a series of little miracles that push her. Let's say they're pushing her to church. Now, would we not like the story better? But they're pushing her to the ball. Jesus says, you're my bride. I want you to marry me. Every single one of us, male and female, he asked to come and join with him. So, Cinderella goes to the ball. She gets inside, and the prince sees her. And he comes straight for her. You know why? He was looking for her. He had called her. He was waiting on her to come. He knew she would be at the ball. That's my take on Cinderella, because who is the Prince of Peace? The Prince of Peace is Jesus. So the ultimate prince for us all is Jesus Christ himself. Christ calls us. We dance with him, and our life is changed forever. When you dance with the Prince of Peace, your life is going to be changed forever. So Jesus dances with me. He calls me to him. I come into his arms. My life is changed. I am created into a new being. And suddenly, bam, the clock strikes midnight. And what does Cinderella do? Does she stand and say, no, this is my prince, and I'm hanging on to him because he picked me to dance with? No, I suggest that clock is a whole lot like the world that comes smacking in on your face after you're saved and you have a relationship and you have an encounter with Jesus. The world will come in and say, whoops, wait, maybe that's not right. It wasn't real. But what did Cinderella do? She ran. She ran back to what she knew. She went back where it was safe. She went home. Home to her confinement, home to the cinders. And about those cinders, my grandmother had a wood stove up on that mountain with no running water or heat, and we had to get coal in a bucket and bring it in the house because she didn't have a coal chute. They lumped it off on the ground, and my brother and I would have to go put it in a basket, in a bucket, and take it into the house. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you step on those little sharp shards of coal, broken pieces, with no shoes on, it will cut your feet slap open. My mother carried the scar of coal tearing her leg up her entire life from falling on it when she was a little girl. So, to think that Cinderella, a small child, has been shoved back, pushed and bullied, and forced to live like a dog. Isn't that like so many of our children today and so many of us that have been marginalized, that have been bullied? I think those stepsisters and the mother are exactly like the world. They are bullies. They are narcissists. They are self-serving, and they're hateful and mean. So, now, Cinderella takes off running because the clock struck midnight. She lost her shoe. She goes running home, back to what she knows, back to the bullying, back to all of that, because now the prince is looking for her. Because guess what? He's got her shoe. She's his. He made that shoe just for her, and he wants her, and he's going for her. You know why? Because she's his. She's danced with him. So he takes that shoe in his pocket, and he searches high and low. And the world tries to make her hide her faith. It makes her believe it's not real. Makes her think, maybe I made that up. Maybe that was not real. But then she got the little shoe, and she's like, but I've got my shoe. But oh, now I'm lost because now I'm just lost with no shoe. Lord, I hope the prince finds me with my shoe. Well, you know what? In our life, we don't have to hope. We know, because Jesus is the good shepherd, and we are sheep that are bad to wander. Our hearts are wickedly deceitful. We are bad to wander off into the weeds and get lost. And when I was writing this down, I said this, oh Lord, so often I have lost my shoe. And you know what Jesus says? I am positive you are not lost, and I have your other shoe. Just like he goes and gets the sheep from the briars and from the danger and puts that sheep on his shoulder and carries it back. That is the imagery of Jesus. Jesus is this prince. Jesus is not going to settle. Nobody else could wear her shoe. That's the point. He came to her. He said, honey, let me see. I think this is your shoe. And he puts it on her, and she's restored. He doesn't care about her filthy rags. He doesn't care that she's been shoved off into the corner by her family. He doesn't care that her mom has not talked to her in 14 years. Or he doesn't care that everybody in her family lives in a fancy gated community, but she lives in a trailer on the wrong side of the tracks. He came for her. He has her shoe, he puts it on her, and he takes her to be his bride. And they are together forevermore, happy ever after. There is a happy ever after. It may not be in this life, but Jesus has called you to dance, and if you've danced with him, this life may be so hard because God never said it would be easy. Or it may be so ridiculously easy that you need to get down on your knees and thank God for it. But know this, when you dance with the prince, there is a happy ending, and you do get a happy ever after. Because I may not get delivered here on this earth, but the moment I die, I am going to be at the biggest ball, at the grandest dance, with the best new body and clothes, and my life will be changed forevermore. Thank you, Cinderella. I love you, Jesus. Thank you for being the Prince of Peace. The one who comes for me. Thank you that you want to dance with me and you count me as your bride. I love you all. Have a great day. I hope this encourages everyone.